Hi everyone, and welcome to Let's Talk in English on PTS.
Get ready to learn something new today with Gabe
and Andrea. Well, friends, today we are going to space. Well, I'm not sure if we're actually going to space, but we'll find out in today's lesson. We know we're learning more about it with our key words, so say them with us. Our first key word is travel. Travel. Tammy watches travel shows to learn about different places around the world.
Vacation. Vacation. Cam and Lynn are going on vacation. They'll be gone for 10 days.
Terrible. Terrible. This book is terrible. Don't read it.
Glad. Glad. I'm glad we're traveling together. I'm having a lot of fun.
Either. Either. I don't know the answer either. Let's ask the teacher.
Museum. Museum. Tim learned a lot about history at the History Museum. And of course, we learn a lot about English here on Let's Talk in English. Let's look at these keywords one more time. The first one is travel. Travel.
Vacation. Vacation.
Terrible. Terrible.
Glad. Glad.
Either. Either.
Museum. Museum. Good job, friends. Well, I'm glad that Eddie is here because he has today's mission.
Oh, I'm glad to be here too.
Oh, good job, Eddie. So, can you give us the mission?
Oh, yeah, sure. Today's mission is, what would Sarah like to see?
What would Sarah like to see?
Well, you would like to see that answer in today's lesson, so listen carefully. Here we go.
Hi, Betty. Did you read my article?
I'm reading it right now. This is an interesting article about space travel.
Thanks.
Would you want to be an astronaut, Sarah?
Maybe. You know, someday people could take vacations in space.
Really? That sounds fun.
Hello, friends.
Hello, Hugh. What are you selling today?
This. Try it.
What is it?
Just eat it.
Okay.
Well, I wonder what it is. Hugh comes into the post office and he's selling something. Gabe, what do you think it is?
I don't know, but it's something to eat. And let me just tell you, if I don't know what something is, I don't think I would want to try it.
That's true, but Betty is eating it. She's trying it, and I hope we find out what it is. Well, Betty and Sarah are talking about an interesting article. The article is about space travel. Well, friends, let's look at this key word together. It's the noun travel. Travel. Now, when you go to a new place, you are traveling. Anything that talks about traveling can be part of travel.
That's right. If you're reading a book about traveling, you can say it's a travel book. You can read a travel article, or go to a travel website, or talk to a travel agent. They will help you make plans for a trip somewhere.
And those would be travel plans. You can ask someone, do you have travel plans this winter? Gabe, do you have any travel plans this month?
I do have some travel plans. I am planning on traveling to see some of my family, some relatives. Those are my travel plans.
Those sound like good plans. You can also have travel plans for a vacation. Our keyword is vacation. Vacation. A vacation is a time where you do not work. You can travel somewhere on your vacation.
And Sarah says that someday people will be taking vacations in space. So what do you do with a vacation? You can take a vacation.
This is terrible.
What is this, Hugh?
It's space food.
Space food?
Yes, astronauts eat this when they go into space.
Then I'm glad I'm not going into space. I wouldn't want to eat this every day.
I wouldn't either, but I'd still like to go into space. I want to know what traveling in space is like.
Well, I want to know what traveling in space is like too, but I don't think I would want to try space food. Betty says this is terrible. That means it tastes terrible. Let's learn this key word, terrible. Say it again. Terrible. Something that is terrible is very bad. It's terrible.
If food is bad, we can say it is terrible. It doesn't taste good. That's what Betty says. Now, other things can also be terrible. Maybe you have a terrible day. That means you had a very bad day.
I was reading this book, and when I got to the end, I thought, this book is terrible. There is nothing good in this book. You can describe some things as terrible. Use this word today. Well, friends, we have another word here. It is the word glad. Smile when you say this word. Glad. Glad also means happy.
In our conversation, why is Betty glad? Well, she's glad that she's not going into space. She's happy about that because she doesn't like the space food.
She does not like the space food, so she says, I am glad I'm not going into space. Well, friends, what makes you glad? Think about that today. Our next key word is either. Either. This is a word that you use when you are talking about two things. If one person doesn't like something and you say, I don't like it either, that means you also don't like it. So either means also.
Betty doesn't like the space food. Sarah doesn't like it either. So she also doesn't like the food.
That's right. Make sure you use this word when you are talking about things that you don't like or when you want to say not instead of agreeing with it. You say, I don't like it either.
Then visit the Science Museum in Chicago. They have a space center there.
Really?
Yes, you can learn a lot of interesting things about space travel. And you can see what Earth looks like from space.
I'd like to see that.
Great. I'm selling museum tickets.
Okay, I'll talk to Max. Maybe we can go.
Wonderful.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, friends, it is wonderful that we found the answer to today's mission. The question is, what would Sarah like to see?
What would Sarah like to see? She would like to see what Earth looks like from space.
Well, maybe she can learn more about that at the Science Museum. Friends, let's learn this keyword together. It is museum. Museum. A museum is a place that you can go to or visit to learn about things. At a science museum, you can learn about science.
You can go to a science museum, or you can go to an art museum. Do you like art? Then go to an art museum. There are many kinds of museums. You can also go to a history museum if you like learning about history.
Well, it's good news that Hugh is also selling tickets to the museum, because I don't think people want to buy the space food.
No, they don't want to buy the space food, but it would be exciting to go to the science museum.
Inspector E.
Hi everyone, I'm Mr. E. This week we talked about space. Simon showed Sarah and Max something special in the sky. Do you remember what it was? That's right, the planet Venus. Now, what did Simon say about Venus? Let's listen to that again.
Scientists call it Earth's sister planet. Scientists call it Earth's sister planet.
Scientists call it Earth's sister planet. Now, what does Simon mean? Well, Venus is a lot like Earth. It is about the same size, and many other things are the same about Earth and Venus. That's why scientists call Venus Earth's sister planet. When we say something is the sister of something else, we mean the two things are similar, or they have a special relationship. For example, if we say that two schools are sister schools, we mean that they have a special relationship. Maybe the schools are owned by the same people, or they have a program where schools send their students to study at the other school. Or we can also say sister cities or sister ships. This all means that the two cities or the two ships have a special relationship. Do you understand? All right, now go practice what you've learned. Remember, use it or lose it. This is Mr. E signing off.
Conversation replay.
Hi, Betty. Did you read my article?
I'm reading it right now. This is an interesting article about space travel.
Thanks.
Would you want to be an astronaut, Sarah?
Maybe. You know, someday people could take vacations in space.
Really? That sounds fun.
Hello, friends.
Hello, Hugh. What are you selling today?
This. Try it.
What is it?
Just eat it.
Okay. This is terrible.
What is this, Hugh?
It's space food.
Space food?
Yes, astronauts eat this when they go into space.
Then I'm glad I'm not going into space. I wouldn't want to eat this every day.
I wouldn't either, but I'd still like to go into space. I want to know what traveling in space is like.
Then visit the Science Museum in Chicago. They have a space center there.
Really?
Yes, you can learn a lot of interesting things about space travel. And you can see what Earth looks like from space.
I'd like to see that.
Great. I'm selling museum tickets.
Okay, I'll talk to Max. Maybe we can go.
Wonderful.
Calendar phrase.
Gabe, I want to be a doctor.
You want to be a doctor?
Yes.
Well, I want to be an astronaut.
You want to be an astronaut?
I want to be an astronaut. Do you know why?
Because that's today's
Calendar phrase.
I want to be an astronaut.
I want to be an astronaut.
This is a great phrase to use when you share what you want to be one day. I want to be a teacher. I want to be a mother, or
I want to be an astronaut.
let's learn more.
I want to be an astronaut.
I want to be an astronaut.
What do you want to be in the future?
I want to be a singer. What about you, Dan?
I want to be an astronaut.
What?
I want to be an astronaut.
Wait, you really want to be an astronaut?
Yes, I want to be an astronaut.
Good luck. You'll have to work very hard.
That's okay. I want to be an astronaut. I want to be an astronaut.
I want to be an astronaut.
I want to be an astronaut.
Wow, Eddie, why?
Oh, so I can go into space.
Sounds good. Well, Eddie, can you give us the question of the day?
Oh, yeah, sure. Here it is. Would you want to be an astronaut? Why or why not?
Would you want to be an astronaut? Why or why not?
Well, I would not want to be an astronaut because it would mean that I would have to spend a lot of time studying just so that I could go up into space.
That's true. It takes a lot of work to be an astronaut, but you get to go to space.
That's true.
Well, friends, thank you for joining us today here on Let's Talk in English on PTS, where
Learning English can be fun.
Goodbye.
Goodbye now.